You're listening to The Services Brief, part of Main Street Media. I'm Taylor. It's Friday, July 24, 2026. Today's business spotlight, plus the three numbers that mattered this week. Today's spotlight is ManpowerGroup, the Milwaukee-based staffing giant. And I know a nearly $20 billion public company sounds a long way from your shop. Stay with me, because what happened to Manpower this week is the clearest read you'll get on the one thing that keeps every service owner up at night: the labor market. On Wednesday, July 16th, ManpowerGroup reported its second quarter numbers, and they were a real turnaround. Revenue came in at $4.9 billion, up 8% from 1 year ago. The company swung from a loss a year earlier to an operating profit of $112 million. Adjusted earnings beat what Wall Street expected, and the stock jumped about 27% in a single day. Now the model, because it's the same one you run in miniature every time you bring on a seasonal helper. Manpower finds workers and places them with businesses that need labor, and it makes its money on the spread between what the client pays and what the worker earns. Buy the hour at one price, bill it at a higher one. Keep the difference. When companies get nervous, the first thing they cut is temporary staff, and Manpower's revenue sags. When they get confident, temp demand comes back before permanent hiring does. That's why staffing is what's called a leading indicator. It moves before the rest of the economy does. So here's what changed this quarter and why you should care. Manpower said the recovery is broadening, stronger demand in the U.S. and in several other markets. Put plainly, the businesses around you are getting more comfortable adding labor again. That's good news for the wider economy, but for you as an employer, it carries a sharp edge. More companies hiring means more competition for the same workers you're trying to land and keep. The strategic decision other owners should be watching is the exact one Manpower's whole business is built on: how much of your labor should be flexible versus fixed. When demand is choppy, carrying a full roster of full-time technicians through a slow stretch can drown you, and leaning on temporary or contract help to cover the peaks protects your margin. When demand is steady and workers are scarce, the opposite holds. Locking good people down with full-time roles and real benefits is what keeps them from answering a recruiter's call. Manpower just told you which way the wind is blowing right now. The concrete decision for you: look at your next 90 days of booked work, separate the reliable baseline from the seasonal spike, and staff that baseline permanently while covering the spike with flexible help. Instead of overhiring into a peak you'll have to cut from 3 months later. Get that mix right, and you protect both your margin in the slow weeks and your capacity in the busy ones. Now, the three numbers that mattered this week. Number one, the Services Prices Index came in at 67.7 in June, its first reading below 70 since February, according to the ISM Services Report released July 6th. Why you should care: any reading above 50 means your costs are still climbing, but the pace is finally easing, which makes this a reasonable moment to hold your pricing steady rather than push through another increase your customers will feel. Number two, 47% of service firms that import say they plan to raise prices over the next year per the New York Fed's tariff pass-through analysis published July 14th. Why you should care: nearly half the service businesses around you are about to raise prices too. So if you've been sitting on an increase you know you need, you've got more cover to make the move without looking like the only one doing it. Number three, 32% of small business owners reported job openings they could not fill in June, up 3 points from May, from the NFIB jobs report out this month. Why you should care: hiring just got harder again after a brief easing in the spring, so build more lead time and more budget into filling your next role rather than counting on a quick hire. That's it for Friday. Find all of Main Street Media's shows wherever you listen. Subscribe, leave a review, and I'll see you Monday for the Cross Industry Briefing.